Before I start today's video, I just want to explain very briefly that my previous video was mainly about the Bible verse of Micah 7.2. And what Micah 7.2 is about is that it describes a world where righteous people have vanished and people who are left behind prey upon one another instead of living uprightly. So this is what AI gave to me when I typed in Micah 7.2, and there are different translations that give different explanations to what it may mean. And the NIV says, "The faithful have been swept from the land. Not one upright person remains. Everyone lies in wait to shed blood. They hunt each other with nets." And another version, the ESV, says, "The godly has perished from the earth, and there is no upright person left among mankind. They all lie in wait for blood, and each hunts the other with a net." And the KJV says, "The good man is perished out of the earth, and there is none upright among men. They all lie in wait for blood. They hunt every man his brother with a net." So obviously not all the translations are correct, because the main idea is that the righteous has vanished. Here it is, the top line says, Micah 7.2 describes a world where righteousness has vanished and people prey upon one another instead of living uprightly. So the only true correct translation that really gives justice to this Bible verse is any translation that talks about the disappearance or the vanishing of the righteous people from the land. And it's not that the righteous have perished, like, say for example, the ESV would say. The word should not be perished, because the disappearance of the righteous people from out of the land does not necessarily mean that they have perished. It means that the righteous are no longer living on that land, and those who are left behind will resort to predating upon one another. In this video, I also talked about inner circle, and that's who made a video about Micah 7.2, because it doesn't come from me at all. And so the title of the video by Inner Circle is End Time Prophecy and Rapture Secrets Discovered. New book by Dr. Scott McQuaid. And the thumbnail I have used in my previous video is also from this video of his, where he talks about Micah 7.2, and here at 19.47 you see a picture of people killing one another, and this is the picture I have used for my thumbnail in my previous video. So if you have not truly understood what my previous video is about, then I will say that it is about the disappearance of the righteous people from off Earth's surface, and how those who are left behind will be killing one another and hunting each other down, and the fact that it says that they will be using nets is what this video by Inner Circle explains in great details. So today's video will be about rapture timing again, but you will not believe how amazing something that has just been revealed to me can be. And I want to share this because it is so amazing, and I hope it blesses you the way that it has blessed me. But before I talk about rapture timing and the blessing that I feel I have received, I want to talk about Troy Black, because I had a dream where, like 2 weeks ago, where me and Troy were in a huge house, and he turned round and said something to me, and I could not remember later on. I remembered it when I first woke up. I didn't understand what he was saying by what he said, but then later on I forgot what he said completely. But I had not been watching Troy recently at all, because most of his videos, the topics he covers, are of no interest to me, so I had stopped watching Troy for a long time. And then he came into my dream, and we were both in this huge house. And because he came into my dream, I decided to go and see if there are any videos of his that stand out that I should be particularly aware of, but I didn't see anything until this video came up, and it had just been released. I think it was released on Monday, because as soon as it was released, I watched it then and there. It appeared on my feed, and I realized that's why I had a dream of Troy. Well, the title of the video is called End Times Prophetic Warning Just Fulfilled in November. So in this video, he talks about how God told him that he will be coming with cleansing fires, and then it manifested because of the way that the fires of the Hong Kong towers, where the skyscrapers in Hong Kong caught fire. That's what he foresaw a few weeks ago, and it manifested. So I suggest you watch this video. There are quite a few things that he talks about in this video that are really good to know about in itself. But I had to pray about this video, because if God says to you that He's coming with cleansing fires, then doesn't God come down to earth? Isn't Jesus supposed to come down with fire around the time of the rapture. So in this video, Troy also says that the message is a stock reminder of the end times, because it reminds you that the end will come someday. And Troy also talks about how God speaks through various people, and that God doesn't limit himself to talking to others from just some people, but God can use anybody to speak to his people. And that's why in my previous video I have featured clips where somebody is saying that in the Bible God used a donkey to speak. And so if God can use a donkey to speak to his people, then this means that he can use a person as well. So by the way, I did watch a video by Troy. Like I said, I started keeping an eye on what Troy has been releasing because I had a dream about him, and he also shared info about 2026 and 2027 and how these will be difficult years for Christians. But I don't want to make my video too long because I haven't even started talking about what I really want to talk about right now for today's video. So what I'm going to say is, I prayed a lot and I said, Jesus, if you have said that you're coming down with cleansing fires, then does that not mean that your coming is near? Because if you have come down with cleansing fires, then this means that these cleansing fires are the rapture fire as well. Because a few years ago I released a video where I said that when Jesus will come to rapture us, I saw in a dream that there will be a big rapture fire that descends down, and that there will be this. I saw a big rapture fire coming down. So I have always associated the Lord coming down with fire as the Lord coming down with rapture fire as well. So I had to pray about it, and I asked God to please inform me if telling Troy that he's coming down with cleansing fires is the same as God coming down with the rapture fire. And because these fires have manifested in November, just the way Troy knew that they will manifest in November, does that mean that the rapture fire that God is coming down with is near and almost upon us? So the Hong Kong fires have also been spoken about by Steve Fletcher, and he associated Hanukkah and the seven towers and the menorah and all that. But even then, none of this came across as anything special or important or of any significant value to me, because I did not want to believe that these Hong Kong fires have actually something to do with the rapture or anything to do with Hanukkah. Then like I said, I prayed and prayed and asked Jesus if these cleansing fires are something to do with the rapture fire as well. And then on the 4th of December, I had a dream. And in this dream, loads of angels came down, and there was a tall, oppressive building, like a Roman building, a Roman tower, that also could be like the Tower of Babylon, the big Tower of Babel, which is, it looked to me like it was a big Roman kind of thing, and it was taller than it is supposed to be, taller than any building should be. And angels, loads of angels, came down and smacked it down. And me and the people I was hanging out with in this video, we were no longer adults, we were all children, which is very significant because this means that we were restored back to being like children, because as you know, you have to be like a child in order to enter heaven. So the fact that me and the people who were my friends, who were my people, we were all children in this dream, is very important to me. And so these angels came down and smacked down this big tower, and as it collapsed, a dark, evil, black spirit emanated from it like a black smoke. And I realized it is the evil spirit of oppression that was suppressing me, and that had to really get knocked down by these angels. And then one angel, so the whole place was filled with light. Then light fell on the floor as well, like as the light came down, light lit everywhere up, and when the light hit the ground, it like turned into crystals, although not solid material crystals, but like liquid light, like forming into green crystals like emeralds on the floor. But they were not solid, they were like liquid energy, but it was so beautiful. And one angel came to me and he said to me that it is 1930, which is 7:30 at night. And then he showed me his hand, and there was a gold watch on his hand, and it was glistening with gold. The whole thing was of fine gold, the hands of the clock and everything. And the time was 7:30 on his watch. And he said to me that he'll come back to collect me when it is 10 p.m., which means that he'll be back to collect me in 2.5 hours. And then I said to him, "So you will be taking me to Jesus?" And the look in his eyes said yes. He was very strong, very tall, very powerful angel, and I woke up then. So like I said, I just needed confirmation that if Jesus has come down with cleansing fires, then it can't be that he has come down only to burn these buildings down. It doesn't make sense that God will come down with fire only to set a few buildings on fire and cause destruction, because God won't just come down for no reason, will he? So until I had this dream, it wasn't making sense to me as to why God would just come down with fire to burn down a few buildings, and then how you'd associate that with a Hanukkah rapture. But then, when the angel said to me that it is now 7:30 p.m. and how he'll come back to collect me at 10 p.m., which is in 2.5 hours, I realized that in the spirit, 2.5 hours may mean 2.5 days, or 2.5 weeks, or 2.5 months. So, if the angel is supposed to come back to collect me in 2.5 days, then the rapture would be from the 4th. 2.5 days from the 4th is around the 7th of December, isn't it? But if it is in 2.5 weeks from the 4th of December, then the rapture time will be around the 22nd of December, which is around Hanukkah time. So then I realized that rapture could well be at Hanukkah. It could well be around the 19th or the 20th, or even the 21st or the 22nd. And in my previous video, I had a comment left by somebody who said to me that Shemini Atzeret could still be on the 23rd or the 24th of December, and that he has not yet crossed out the possibility that Shemini Atzeret could still be in December. But I am not going to go into this Shemini Atzeret thing again, and I hope that this dream about the angels is not yet another dream where we have been misled, because I prayed so much for a confirmation that God hasn't come down with fire only to burn these buildings down and cause destruction, because God is supposed to come down with fire at the rapture, because I had foreseen it, like I said a few years ago, that God will come down with fire and it will be the rapture fire. So if these fires have manifested, like Troy has said, that God told him that he'll come down with cleansing fires by November, and this has manifested in the burning down of these buildings, then God has come down with fire, as simple as that. And so what's next? Obviously, it is the rapture fire. And maybe these buildings, these tall buildings, are probably what I have seen in my dream as collapsing, where the huge tower was smacked down by angels, and black smoke rose from the collapsed Tower of Babel, the Babylonian tower, with an evil spirit of ancient Babylon in it. So I'm not going to make this video too long. Everybody knows what I'm saying, and if you've got your thoughts and want to tell me more about what you think about my dream and the rest of this video, then you can tell me about it in the comment section.